In this tutorial, I'll share some of the customization I've done to my iPad and Procreate to complement working with the TourBox shortcut controller. Since the TourBox contains most of the shortcuts I use, the rest are programmed to Gestures, the QuickMenu, and the Apple Pencil Pro. I have a tutorial explaining which shortcuts I chose and how I use them if you haven't already seen it. Unfortunately, there isn't a way I know of to import these settings, so you'll have to set them manually. There aren't too many, so it should be fairly quick. Let's start with the gestures. Under Layers Select, I have it set to Touch and Hold. This way I can tap and hold on the canvas, and a menu will appear that allows me to choose which layer I want to select. Under Copy and Paste, I have 3-finger swipe to invoke these options. Clear Layer I do with a different method, which I will come back to. You can keep Scrub or disable it if you like. Full Screen is set to 4-finger tap. Quick Menu is set to something else as well. For Quick Shape, I have the Modify button set to convert the last stroke into a quick shape. I can also draw and hold to make a shape. My eyedropper is invoked by holding the Modify button and tapping on a color on the canvas. Assisted drawing gestures are disabled, as are Erase and Smudge. Now let's review my Apple Pencil settings. Squeeze will pop up the Quick Menu. You can either choose Show Tool Palette here for a global setting that works on more than just Procreate, or you can set it specifically in Procreate as a Quick Menu gesture. Same goes for Double Tap. You can set it here or in Procreate. I prefer to leave it disabled since it can trigger by mistake. I like to use Hover and have haptics disabled, but you can choose what you prefer. Scribble is useful for inputting text without having to use the keyboard. That's all for this menu. For more about how I optimized my iPad for working with Procreate, see my reference video. Last, I'll explain how I programmed my Quick Menu. As you may recall, I can invoke this using Squeeze on my Apple Pencil. By default, your menu will look different. Tapping on the center button will allow you to navigate between multiple menus. You can create new menus with the plus button and delete them by swiping left. Tapping and holding on a shortcut button will allow you to change the command. The list of commands is limited. You can feel free to choose any commands you may find useful. Here are the ones I have chosen. My primary menu is called Shortcuts. These are the most frequently used commands in my workflow. New Layer is useful for creating new layers without having to open the Layers menu. Liquify is great for quickly entering the Liquify filter. Flip horizontally can be helpful for checking for mistakes or for getting a fresh perspective on your work. Clear Layer is used a lot to erase the entire layer. Select Layer Contents will place a selection around the content of the current layer, which can be used to trap paint on a new layer within that shape. And Alpha Lock will lock the blank areas of a layer and allows you to stencil off areas to paint on. If you're curious about what each of these functions are used for, be sure to check out my Procreate course. You can also learn about these features in my Essential Skills Every Digital Artist Must Know course. The next menu is called Brushes. This is a flexible menu that I use to gather the brushes I am using for the current project. I can easily swap these brushes for other brushes. Choosing the brushes here is much quicker than hunting through the brush library. The Guides menu is very useful for enabling and disabling Drawing Assist and hiding and showing the various types of guides. This is all much faster than going into the menus. You will have to enable Drawing Assist and choose the initial guides, but after that you can do a lot of the work through the Quick Menu. The Drawing Assist button will enable and disable snapping brushes to the guides. The other guide buttons will toggle the visibility of each type of guide. As you can see, I can hide the guides while keeping the snapping active. And there is a Clear Layer button since that's handy across multiple shortcut menus. For you animators, I have a collection of shortcuts that can help you streamline your workflow. There's a button to show and hide the onion skin. This helps you preview your previous and next frames. Transforming is quite useful in animation, so I've made that easy to access. Liquify is also a tool that is used a lot. Clear Layer appears again since that's something I use often. Duplicating layers can be useful, so I have access to that. And finally, I can easily create new animation frames using New Layer. That's all for the quick menu. You can feel free to add additional menus if you like. Now that you have set up some additional shortcuts, you should be well equipped to use the TourBox to streamline your Procreate art experience.